Today I'll be showing you how to retrim interior panels. To start out, I've placed both of the panels on the new material on the back side, and I'm trying to minimize the waste by the placement of them. And then I'm going to start tracing out with a metallic Sharpie on the back of this material. Just a rough outline, leaving plenty of room, especially on the curved parts of the panels, so that I don't come up short of material. Then at the end, I just like to mark each piece so that I remember where it goes. Now that I'm done tracing the templates, I'm going to go ahead and cut them out with a pair of fabric scissors. With the templates cut out, I then like to lay each piece over the pillar trim and just kind of map out where I want it to line up before I start gluing it. This is also a good way to make sure that I've traced out enough material, especially around the corners and the curved pieces. At this point, I like to start taking the old fabric off. A lot of times the glue has disintegrated enough from the heat and such that the fabric's easy to peel off, but in this car it needed a little more motivation to come off, so I pulled out a steam cleaner that I have and just went over the piece a couple of times with that. I made a small cut with a razor blade to sort of get the material started to peeling off, and then I went ahead and removed the rest of it. Now with the trim piece back on the work table, I'll start laying the fabric over it again, and I'm going to fold the material in half to get this started. If you try to glue the entire piece of fabric at the same time, I've found that especially with a piece with contours like this, it's easy to get air bubbles or creases. So instead, I'm going to start with a small piece and work my way over. I'm using 3M headliner adhesive to spray the back side of the material and also the pillar. And I've also got a little piece of waste fabric over here to keep me from getting any overspray on the top facing part of the fabric. Also, it's going to be a somewhat fine line between covering everything and going too heavy because it can bleed through the fabric. After I've let this sit for a couple minutes and become tacky, it's time to go ahead and place the fabric on the pillar. In my experience, just smoothing it with my hands has been enough to get the air bubbles out and to contour the fabric to the piece. With the fabric fully glued down, it's time to go ahead and trim the excess around the edges. On this particular piece, all of the other trim pieces cover it, so there's no need to fold the fabric over the edges, but on some pieces you'll want to make sure you do that. For most of the long edges, I'm able to use the fabric scissors to trim, but on some of the tighter areas, I'm going to use a razor blade to get those excess bits of fabric. This particular piece is a C-pillar trim, so the slot where the seat belt comes out needs to be cut out as well. And the last step for this particular piece is to put this plastic trim back in place. Here's the completed piece ready to go back in the car. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.